Hello, everyone. If you are aiming for the University of California, whether it is innovation of Berkeley, prestige of UCLA, or the cutting edge research of San Diego, you need to forget almost everything you know about college application. You might think a 40 plus IB score, a flawless transcript, or a 1500 plus SAT puts you in the driver's seat. Let me stop you right there. UC system is still test blind. They will not look at your SAT or your ST scores even if you submit them. Because of that, the UCs are a different beast entirely. Your perfect GPA is just the entry ticket, a foot in the door. The competition is a bloodbath, and even valedictorians get rejected. So how do you win? Let's start with the rules of the game. The UCs don't use the Common App. They use their own portal. One application lets you apply to all 9 campuses. Just check the box and pay the fees. But it's not that simple, right? And here is what actually matters. The A to G of subjects. UCs have a non-negotiable list of high school courses you must complete. It includes history, English, math, science, foreign language, and visual art. If your transcript is missing even one of these categories, you are automatically disqualified. No exceptions there. So it's advisable to check your subjects. If something is missing, fix it. The UC GPA, they recalculate your GPA using only your 10th and 11th grade scores. For international students, they will look at 9th grade and look at rigorous curriculum and an upwards grade trajectory. They want to see you grow over time. The activity list. You can list up to 20 activities across 6 categories. Unlike the Common App, UCs give you 350 characters per entry. That's a mini essay. This isn't a list, remember, it's a showcase. You need to fill this space with concrete numbers, real responsibilities, and a measurable impact. Another thing, 0 recommendation. Let that sink in. No teacher letters, no counselor recommendations. Your application rests on 3 things: your grades, your activity, and your writing. With no test, no recommendations, your PIQ or your personal insight questions are your only chance to speak directly to the admission officer. You get 8 prompts. You must choose 4. You have exactly 350 words for each. And here's the biggest mistake we see. Students try to write a poetic, narrative short story. Don't. You see admission officers read thousands of these a day. They are exhausted. They want clarity. Treat these like an interview on paper. Be direct, be clear. And here is a strategic selection framework regardless of your make. Prompt 1, leadership. Don't say you were a team cap. Show us how you managed a conflict, stretched a budget, or led a project under tight deadline. Prompt 6, which is about the academic sub. This is your why this major. Don't just say you love the subject, it excites you, you like to attend the classes. Get specific. Talk about a program you sought, a theory that fascinated, or a project that pushed your thinking, the why of that subject. Prompt 2, which is creativity, or prompt 3, which is talent. Use this to show how you think differently. How do you approach problems when the textbook fails? And prompt 4, which is about educational barrier, opportunity. This is your chance to show resilience. Did you take an advanced online course because your school didn't offer one? Did you overcome a resource constraint? Tell us that story. Let's make this real with our first case study today. So meet Myra. She applied for mechanical engineering at Berkeley and UCLA. On paper, she is great. Top marks in IB math and physics, but so were thousands of applicants. She needed a way to stand out, a spike. And here is how she won. In her activities section, she didn't mention 20 clubs. It's not random clubs that she worked on. She went deep on one, an independent robotics team with a 350 characters. She didn't just say she was on the team. She wrote, and I quote, led mechanical design engineer for a 15-student team, utilized CAD to design an omnidirectional chassis, reducing cycle time by 18%, managed a $1,200 component budget. Notice the numbers. That's the impact. Then for her PIQ, she didn't tell us she liked machines. She described a moment of failure, a robotic arm where the motor kept overheating. She walked the admissions officer through the mechanical map. She used to recalculate the center of gravity and fix the problem. By the time admissions officer finished reading, Myra wasn't just a student with good grades, good in math and physics, high IP score. She was an engineer. She demonstrated analytical thinking and resilience, which is what they look for in future researchers. But what if you are not applying for STEM? What if your strength is in humanity, English literature, history, or philosophy? Here is another case study. Meet Ronak. He applied for English literature at UC Berkeley, one of the most competitive programs for humanity. On paper, again, Ronak had strong grade, a 42 in IB with higher level English and history. But so do almost everyone who applies for these schools. And without SAT scores to bolster his application, he needed to prove that he wasn't just good at reading. He was a thinker, an analyst, someone who could contribute to seminars and discussions from day one. And here is how he built his spike. In his activities section, Ronak didn't just list book club president, that he founded and ran a student-led literary magazine called Marginalia. With his 350 characters, he wrote founder and editor-in-chief of Student Literary Magazine. Curated 45 plus submissions per issue from 6 local high schools, led 8-person editorial team in selecting, editing, and designing 3 annual issues, secured $2,000 in school funding through magazine advertisements. Notice the pattern: numbers, scale, and leadership. Then for his peak IQ, he described a moment in his English class when they studied Toni Morrison's Beloved. The class was divided on how to interpret the character of Seth. Ronak researched the historical context, analyzed Morrison's stream of consciousness narration, and wrote a comparative essay, linking the novel to contemporary discussions about memory and trauma. He didn't just say he analyzed literature. He walked the admissions officer through his thought process, through his method, the way he analyzed it. For the creativity prompt, he talked about his creative writing process, specifically a short story he wrote from a perspective of a grandfather clock. Sounds simple, but he explained how he had to think like the clock and how that exercise changed his approach to character development. The result? Ronak wasn't a kid who got good grades in English. He was someone who could walk into a UC Berkeley seminar and challenge the perspectives, discuss the interpretations of a novel. Now let's talk about one of the most competitive parts, business and economics. In the recent years, we have seen a significant increase in applications for these programs. And UC Berkeley School of Business is consistently ranked among the top undergraduate business programs in the world. They barely admit 4% of applicants. So meet Priya. She applied as a business administration major to Berkeley. On paper, she had a 4 GPA, 5s in AP macro and micro, and a very good IE score. But so does everyone. Priya needed to show that she didn't just understand economic theory, she could apply it. She could see opportunity where everyone saw chaos. In her activities section, Priya didn't list finance club member. She went deeper. She wrote co-founder of School Investment Club, managed $5,000 mock portfolio, achieving 14% annual return. Created 12-week curriculum teaching 35 members fundamental analysis, DCF modeling, and risk assessment. Hosted 12 virtual sessions with local chartered accountant. Numbers, impact, and scale. She built something, but her real spike came from an experience outside of school. Priya's family ran a small restaurant that had been struggling since the pandemic. Instead of just watching, she took action. For her academic subject prompt, she described how she applied economic principles to save her family's business. She analyzed their supply chain cost, identified inefficiencies in their inventory management, and negotiated with 3 local suppliers to reduce port costs by 22%. She then revamped their delivery abstract to target nearby office workers, increasing weekday sale by 30% and then weekend sale by 35%. She didn't just say she liked economics. She showed the admission officers how she used microeconomic principles to solve a real-world problem affecting her family's livelihood. She demonstrated margin analysis, supply chain optimization, and strategic thinking, all before she had even stepped foot in a college class. For the leadership prompt, she described how she convinced her reluctant father to try her new delivery strategy. She prepared a presentation with data projections, competitive analysis, and risk mitigation plan, just like a real business consultant. When the strategy worked, it wasn't just about the money, it was about earning her father's trust and proving that data-driven decision could save their business. By the time the admissions officer finished reading, Priya wasn't just a student with good grades. She was an entrepreneur, an analyst, and a problem solver. She demonstrated the exact quality Berkeley looks for: initiative, quantitative reasoning, and the ability to read through uncertainty. Now, what if your strength isn't essays or test scores, but in what you create? For students applying for arts program, like UCLA's Design Media, UCSD's Visual Arts, or UC Irvine's Digital Filmmaking, the application is fundamentally different. Meet Ahan. He applied to UCLA's Design Media Arts program, one of the most selective art schools. On paper, his grades were good, not exceptional, a 3.7 GPA, strong marks in art and design class. But he knew for the arts program, portfolio is everything. And here is how he built his application. First, the portfolio. UCLA's Design Media Art program requires a portfolio of 10 to 15 pieces that demonstrate technical skill, conceptual thinking, and creative range. Ahan didn't just submit 15 sketches of digital painting, he curated a narrative. The portfolio told the story, the intersection of memory and technology. He included a series of digital illustrations, exploring how childhood memories distort over time. A short animated film about a character who loses her digital memories and must build them from fragments. An interactive web project where users could upload a photo, see it decay over time to simulate memory loss. A series of physical collages of vintage photographs with glitched digital prints. He accompanied each with an artist statement explaining concept, medium, and technical challenge. In his activities section, he didn't just list art club. He wrote about digital media artists, exhibited work in 3 local galleries, commissioned by local nonprofit to create 5 social media campaign illustrations that reached 50,000 impressions, self-taught about Adobe Creative Suite, and multiple other online courses. He didn't just make art, he exhibited it. He got commissioned and he taught himself technical skills. For his creativity prompt, he didn't just describe his portfolio. Instead, he described a specific creative challenge. He was struggling to animate a sequence in a short film where the protagonist's memories are fractured. He tried traditional animation, but it felt too smooth. He then experimented with intentionally corrupting video files to create a glitch. He spent 3 weeks troubleshooting code, consulting online forums, and eventually creating a custom script in processing to achieve the exact effect he wanted. He showed the admission officer that he wasn't just an artist, he was a problem solver who could bridge the gap between art and technology. For his greatest talent PIQ, he talked about a failure. He described a piece that was rejected from a local gallery show. Instead of giving up, he asked the curator for feedback, radically revised the piece and submitted it to a different show where he won an honorable mention. He demonstrated resilience and willingness to grow. Ahan was admitted to UCLA Design Media Art. His grades were average for UCLA, but the portfolio and the PIQ showed he had a unique vision, technical skills, and maturity to handle criticism. He proved that he could contribute meaningfully to a program that values innovation and conceptual rigor. Your portfolio is your resume. Remember that. Your PIQs are your artist statement. Use every part of the application to reinforce your creative identity. Remember, UC system is strict, it's competitive, but is also fair. They are not looking for perfection. They are looking for students who can contribute, who have a unique perspective, a spike, and the resilience to overcome obstacles. Stay organized, start early, tell your story, and show them what you can bring to the table. You've got this.